want to start this by discussing the place they both grew up. I'm from town, and I've always heard as this place referred to as the Brow, Shea Heights, Shea Estates, and the Hill. One thing I've learned about the crowd from the Hill is that they are a very tight community. You mess with one from the Hill, you mess with the Hill. Ma and David's families have lived on the Hill all their lives. I asked Aunt Mary to be honest with me and tell me what it was like for her living on the Hill all of her life. And she said, Donna, it's like being surrounded by... a big, beefy boy growing up, and he certainly had the look of a good street fighter about him, which was important on the Hill, because the Hill boys, they had a reputation of being tough. Well, at least back when I was a child, right? But the truth came out one day when the boys from the Hill were challenged to a fight from the boys in Buckmaster's circle. All the boys from the Hill thought Dave would be the first one in there fighting for the honor of the Hill. But Dave's reputation was shot that day. When it all kicked off, they seen Dave running away, running back to the Hill.
Brand new from him.
Yeah. Probably Johnny in front of him. David ran to his mother, snotty-nosed and crying. Alice said, my God, boy, what's wrong with you? Were the boys from town too tough? Dave said, yes, Mommy.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
I love this song.
But they fought with expert timing.
So that's why Dave never spent any time living off the Hill. Now, me and David had many a good debate about living on the Hill versus living in town. I said to him, come on, give me 3 good reasons why life on the Hill is better than life in downtown St. John's. Well, his eyes glazed over. He was deep in thought. He took a long, slow draw on his smoke. And then he put his beer up to his lips and took a long, slow sip on his beer. And he said, Donna?
God is great, beer is good. People are crazy. God is great, beer is good. And people are crazy.
Now everyone knows that Uncle Bill also loves a scattered beer. Is that true, Uncle Bill? So why he bought a house and settled down on the Hill, which doesn't have a club or a bar, I could never figure it out. He told me that it was all part of a healthy living plan. I didn't know what he meant by that, so he explained that to get to a beer, I would occasionally find Uncle Bill in the bar, and I'd say to him, my God, Uncle, do you ever get tired of this place? And he'd say,
I love this bar. It's my kind of place. Just walking through the front door puts a big smile on my face. It ain't too far.
what's down the hill?
Come as you are. I love this bar.
I said, oh, that's great. But what about Aunt Mary? You must love her as well. He thought about that for a little while, and he said,
Mary was the girl who told me all I had to know. She put me right on the first mistake. Summer wasn't gone when I learned all she had to show. She really gave all the boy could take.
with Marianne and David because they were interesting. Hormones were raging and Ma reached puberty early. And when she was finally able to get to a high school dance, she spotted David and she knew she had to get out with him. So she went over to him. She wanted to go necking with him so bad. She strutted over, grabbed him by the arm, and she said she was... about that. So I confirmed the story with David, and he told me, Donna, he said absolutely nothing happened that night, because I thought that was the night that she would have lost it. He said nothing happened. He said it also should have been his first clue that she was a woman who you would never easily shut up. I said, Jesus, David, did she talk a lot? And he said, all night long. A very long courtship after that, as we all know, and they finally decided they were right for each other. David officially made them boyfriend and girlfriend to the world when he asked her if she would be his one and only, and Ma said, I want you. I don't want anybody else. I'll think about you. I'll touch myself. Responded to that with the words that any decent man from the hill would. He said, just help yourself. Say the word and they're yours. Just help yourself to the love. You're my heart, your smile has opened up the door. The greatest wealth that exists in the world could never buy what I can give. Just help yourself to my lips, to my arms, and then let's really start to live. That was it. 30-year romance had been hatched. Love had bloomed down the hill. Now, there was actually a time that I thought David had a crush on me. Oh yeah. I remember Marianne telling me one time that her and David had a big argument. Big. She said he drove out of here like a madman. And I was upset about it. I was worried about him because they were, new young couple just getting together and stuff and working things out. I was upset. I cried. Just simply, Next thing you know, I heard David was down on George Street looking for me. And I knew he was looking for me because he was wandering around asking people, oh, hey, did you happen to see the spinning and if you did, was she crying? Well, anyway, they got over it all, as you do. They got back together. Then they decided that there was more to life than partying on weekends, golfing, softball, hanging out with friends. To put it simply, they were getting old. And they needed to have a more responsible life. So one day, after much unprotected practicing, it happened. Ma was with child. David was pretty excited. He was running around the hill telling everyone she's having my baby. What a lovely way of saying how much you love me. Having my baby. What a lovely way of saying young David because they decided to do it again. So, after a good night on the wine and beer, David got to look into Mary Ann's two eyes again and say,
"You're having my baby. What a lovely way of saying
he was a man of few words.
You're having my baby. What a lovely way of saying what you're thinking of me."
And there you have it, the romance behind the creation of young David and Luke. Yep. I'm pretty sure the family's complete now.
Butthead 1, Butthead 2.
What I wanted to, I asked the neighbours what they thought of David and Mary Ann's parenting skills. I was told the whole hill knew when Mary Ann got pissed off at him because when she yelled, she sounded like... Okay, now we gotta backtrack a little. For a while, they lived in the apartment, the official apartment for the offspring of Uncle Bill and Aunt Mary to live in.
Billy tried a couple times.
Yeah. Now, David was out of work and he was bored to death. It was driving him nuts. And I saw him one day just sitting on a bench and staring at night. I said, "What's wrong with you?" And he said, the Druken family home was in need of repair and Alice was fed up with two things: looking at David's sulky bored face and a leaking roof. Rumour had it that she wanted it repaired or replaced. I said, "Alice, what did you do to get David to start thinking about such a major reconstruction?" She said,
"So I just did some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done. He's sleeping on the job, those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling."
so it was time to tear down the old house. Now, David was really nervous about tearing down the family home. So many memories. He said he sat on the swings one night across the street from the house, having a few beers, as you do. He was looking at the old house, and it made him feel pretty sentimental. I said, "What did you think about it?" He said, "Donna, I looked over there and I thought..."
The old house is still standing, though the paint is cracked and dry, and there's that old oak tree that I used to play on.
Everybody knows it, sing along.
Down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary, hair of gold and lips of cherry. It's good to touch the green grass of home.
So he sobered up. And the next day, the decision was made. They were going to tear down the old house, build a brand spanking new one. After much blood, sweat, tears, a lot of help from friends and family, the house was complete and ready to be moved into. I asked David what it felt to finally move out of the apartment and walk up to the front door of their big new house for the first time, and he said it was like... On one of my trips home, I was officially invited to come visit. I'd never been there, so they said, "Oh, you gotta come up, you gotta see the house." So I said to David, I said, "Well, how do I know, how would I find it? How will I know where it is?" And he said, "Come up under the bridge, then..."
If you see a pretty sign,
I've never ever heard him brag about anything. But when I asked him to describe the house to me, he said,
all the crystals have to be white, the paintings on your wall, the marbles that you miss are standing sleeping in the hall.
now, when Ma got her own house, I was a bit worried about how she could find time to clean such a big house. I know that's funny, I know. About how she would find time to clean such a big house properly, raise 2 kids while holding down a full-time job. She said, "Cousin, it's simple."
Gonna use my arms, gonna use my legs, gonna use my style, gonna use my senses, gonna use my fingers, gonna use my imagination, 'cause I'm gonna make you see there's nobody else here, no one like me. I'm special, so special.
Now, you might be surprised to know that Cousin Ma didn't always want to be a stupid old accountant. And Mary told me that Mary Ann secretly wanted to be a professional singer. And then Mary, being the absolute saint that she is, couldn't hurt her feelings and tell her the truth about her voice. So she told her, but thankfully, Mary Ann had many family and friends who told her to stick to accounting. Now, she wasn't happy about giving up her musical dream, and we know this is true because every time she gets on the wine, she belts out, "Oh, we have technical difficulties." Everybody knows how nervous he was about that. So nervous, in fact, that he actually got the boys to ask, because he knows Mary Ann can't say no to her boys. So she said yes, and Dave couldn't, he was racing to tell Alice. Discuss Luke's imagination. I know from experience that weird things happen on the hill, particularly around Bear Mountain. Luke was pretty freaked out a couple of days ago, telling me he was scared to go out in his own backyard. I said, "Why are you scared to go out there, Luke?" And he said,
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had one long horn and one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, "Ooh-wee, it looks like a purple people eater to me." It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. Sure looks strange to me. Yeah.
now, back to the parenting skills of these two. I saw young David on Facebook eating crickets. I love Facebook. I mean, you see what everybody does. So I said, "David, why are you eating crickets?" And he said,
I don't like spiders and snakes, and that ain't what it takes to love me.
I asked young David where he sees himself when he's all grown up, and he said he wants to do the same thing every other fine young man on the hill wants to do.
Well, we all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop houses, driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. We'll all stay skinny 'cause we just won't eat. Hang out in the coolest bars and the VIP with the movie stars. Every good gold digger's gonna wind up there. Every playboy bunny with the bleached blonde hair. And we'll fight out in the private rooms from the latest dictionary and today's who's who. They'll get you anything with that evil smile. Everybody's got a drug dealer on speed dial. Well, hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star.
Now, Facebook is a wonderful way of keeping in touch with what people are eating, who's on vacation, who just bought what. I noticed Marianne gave Dave a new old car a few months back, and she knew Dave loved the car because she overheard him out in the man cave talking to Tommy, and he was saying, now Dave told me he doesn't want to overdo things on the honeymoon. And he's not used to relaxing, likes to be busy. So, I didn't even realize how funny that was when I said it. So a couple of days ago, it was a fine sunny day, and I dropped by her house. David was out in the backyard, sat on the ground, having a beer. Of course he was having a beer. And soaking his feet in the kids' swimming pool. He said he was practicing for being on holiday. I said, I don't get how doing this is going to help you relax. And he said,
I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in the world, a cold beer in my hand. Life's good today. Life's good today.
one thing they do agree on after such a long courtship, they've learned life is delicate and shouldn't be taken for granted. So they just wanted to end by saying to everybody,